Hi again. You're listening to Living Above the Noise, and I'm Terry Covey, your host. Join me here as we reclaim family life for the intentional Christian mom. To know more about me, head back to the trailer, and to set your foundation for living above the noise, listen in to episodes 1 through 4. Follow along as we discuss how you can see your incredible value to God. I'll remind you of this. He created you to do good work right where you are, and that work makes you even more valuable to your husband, your kids, and your community. We'll get into lots of topics to help you not just survive each season of womanhood, but to thrive. Here we go. Well, here we are, episode 9, and moving into the holidays. And today I'm going to be talking about how to really give thanks this year. I got to thinking about Thanksgiving and how it's kind of like a melting pot of personalities and backgrounds. Coming from a Polish immigrant family, we would visit our relatives, and it was the same way. It was like a huge melting pot in their neighborhoods. There would be the Polish neighborhood and the German neighborhood, the Jewish neighborhood and the Italian neighborhoods. And sometimes those cultures would connect, and you would get a house full of all the different cultures. It was actually really interesting. But what I was thinking about Thanksgiving this year, and how especially for large families like ours, by the time your kids get married and develop their own family culture, when you gather together, it's like a big pot. And sometimes it can be boiling, and other times it can create an aromatic stew, so to speak, where different personalities with different strengths and different weaknesses and views on life, like parenting, marriage styles, all gather together and share a common day or two or even a week. And I was also thinking how when we gather together, we can bring in family, neighbors, friends of friends, and how getting to know new people is so good for us. It helps us to love others well, and it helps us to burn off the dross of our wrong thinking or judgments or misunderstandings. One thing I realize is that, especially when it's family, you can't fake it for too long before you have to deal with your differences. You have to love others in spite of having to spend a day or a week together. You have to learn to live well in that setting. And I know we say that we have to practice that at church or in our friends group, but we can go home at the end of those conversations. We get to kind of avoid the hard times or the trials that test us. Most often we get to choose in those other settings. And I understand, not always, but in family especially, we really don't get out of that, or we shouldn't. It's really a good way to grow and mature and learn to love well. So let's look at how we can really give thanks this Thanksgiving. First off, let's be grateful. And what better way than to take a look at the definition? It's an adjective, and it means feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness, thankful. And synonyms are thankful, appreciative, and beholden. So this time of year, we all know, on Thanksgiving we express gratitude for both the small and the more global things in our life. Kids are thankful for their house, their parents, or the new puppy. Adults are glad to have good weather, a pay raise, or new neighbors. But let's face it, in all that busyness and preparation for this one day, we often get sidetracked from the true purpose of the season. There's planning and meal prep and travel, oh my. But let's hold on. There is a way to keep the grumbling at bay and put a spin on gratitude. For most of us, Thanksgiving means a gathering with family, a turkey feast, probably a lot of pie, and maybe football. Our family loves an afternoon walk, a few board games, fun games of ping pong or darts, and did I mention pie? Let's face it, this holiday is a great way to connect with our loved ones, but on the flip side, it can be exhausting. There is a way to be grateful for the mundane tasks of life. You know, the ones you're tempted to get grumpy about 2 hours before the guests arrive. Or is it just me? It only takes a bit of thought and creativity, though, to reframe our mind. And this is a really great place to insert 2 Corinthians 10:5. We are destroying speculations and every lofty thing raised up against the knowledge of God. And here's the catch. And we are taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. So here's a really good time to ponder this verse and seek to live by it, especially when the stress starts. So let's move on to a few ideas to shake up your celebration this year. and enjoy it even though it's a lot of work. In spite all this day involves, the traveling and the packing that goes along with that, the shopping, the cleaning, the cooking. Well, we really can do all of these things I'm going to list out here. We can be grateful for our ability to celebrate, and we can do that with gratitude while we gather with family and friends. I think of my Polish immigrant family, think of the goodness of God and His amazing creativity and design for His people. We can be grateful for living in a country where we can freely call this a day of thanksgiving to God, a day to worship, give thanks, and love our neighbor well. We can be grateful for the internet and video chats, especially for families who live far away or have elderly parents. How wonderful that modern technology gives us the ability to visit with loved ones through apps like Marco Polo, FaceTime, or Zoom. Video chats can be a lifeline. We can even be thankful for the exhausting grocery trips, where you gather everything you're going to need for the Thanksgiving meal. And now with grocery pickups, we have it much easier. Hey, we can even order our groceries while we're watching a Hallmark. Yay for Walmart pickups. And when you're tempted to complain about that shopping and planning and coordinating you have to do, think back a few generations ago. Here's perspective for you. You'd have spent the last 5 months feeding, cleaning, and bringing water to those turkeys. Then you'd have the fun job of slaughtering and plucking them. Ask me how I know all the sordid details. Yeah, we really did all that. It was actually really fun, but man, not fun at the same time. And don't forget weeding the vegetable garden all summer long and then digging up those sweet potatoes. And that just made me realize I actually still have sweets in a pot waiting to come out. It all sounds so quaint, but it's really a lot of work. So next time you go to the grocery store, think about it. Next, we can be grateful for your busy husband, even when he may be too busy to help prepare for the feast and the visitors. I'm not sure about you, but when my kids were little, I would get resentful as my guy would doze off or get sidetracked while I handled all the holiday prep. But it's important to remember how hard our guys work to provide for the family. And I know you work hard too. I'm not saying you don't. I just think sometimes we forget to see it from the other side. You can be thankful for your home and even the mess that comes with the holidays. All the cleaning and organizing for guests. All the decor to store and to organize. Take time to remember the less fortunate families with no home to clean or belongings to organize. And you know what? This makes me realize the boxes of decorations and tissue paper on the floor aren't actually so bad after all. You can be thankful for your cars and the gas to run them, even though now I have a Tesla, so I just plug in, but electricity to run them. But be thankful for those cars, even though the kids have asked, when will we get there 10 times already? It wasn't that long ago that we would be traveling by horse and carriage, the wind creeping through the tarps on the sidewalls, the jolting of wooden wheels on rock-strewn roads. Yeah, suddenly our trip sounds a bit more appealing, doesn't it? And last but not least, you can be grateful for your noisy, mess-making children. They're probably tired from all the work and from trying to be patient while you do all your work. I know they get in your way when you're trying to make meal plans, write the grocery list, and dust and vacuum and cook. But here's a quick reminder. It won't be long before your home will be empty and your children will have their own children making noise and messes. But wait, there's more. Our children's children will make messes and noise again in our home when they visit us for Thanksgiving. So there you go. So many reasons and such blessings abound if we take the time to think, to get creative, and to take a good long look close enough to see those blessings. Family, friends, food, fun, all gifts from the Father. And this is a really good time to remember the verse from James, chapter 1, verse 17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. And then Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 19. And from them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of those who make merry. So stop and think about all the things you have to be grateful for, even in the messes, even in the work, and then go and make merry. Have a really great Thanksgiving weekend. I can't wait to hear how it goes. And coming up on our next episode, I'll be responding to a listener's question about how to be a better wife, how to inspire our husbands to be good partners. It's really hard because our guys get busy, and this person said in particular she feels like she gets the leftovers and needs a perspective change and a way to press into God. So we'll be discussing that, unpacking that a little bit. I don't have all the answers because we are like a puzzle with so many different pieces when it comes to each one of our marriages. But our God has answers in Scripture that can lead us towards a better result. So stay tuned and be thinking about your marriage and what encouragement you might need as we move into that episode.